We're very honored this evening to have on the program with us Kevin Hurricane Hudson. I've known the name, I've known your building for many, many years. Don't even live, like I told you a while ago, a mile from there. But it's an honor tonight to have you here on Nite Line.
Keith, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I've got to ask you this, and I've always wondered this. No joke, just riding by your place. Tell me how you came up with the name Hurricane.
Well, it was funny. When I was a kid, I started karate as a little boy. In 1979. I was the first kid my instructor let train.
How old were you in 79?
I had just turned 8 years old.
And I graduated from high school that year. That ought to be against the law.
No, it's okay. But I went into karate school. I joined up, started training. My dad took me and my mom took me every day of the week. I just fell in love with it. And at about 13, I decided what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a world champion, and I wanted to own a martial arts academy. So everybody said, well, you need a ring name. You got to have a name, you know, and, you know, like Marvelous Marvin Hagler or Sugar Ray Leonard or whatever. And somebody mentioned Kevin Hurricane Hudson, and that was probably 1980, and it stuck, and it's been that way ever since.
That is great. That is great. Now, you're married.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your wife's name?
Her name is Shannon, and we've been married. December will be 22 years. So
what about
years.
that?
Yeah,
now?
time flies. Time flies.
What about that? And you have children?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got 3 beautiful children. I got a 15-year-old daughter, got an 11-year-old son, and I got a 7-year-old son. So I got a girl and 2 boys. So we're very busy. My wife is a wonderful lady to put up with me, and I've been very blessed and got 3 beautiful children. Yeah.
So would it be safe to say that she can handle the hurricane?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She can handle the hurricane.
Yeah, hey, Mama's in charge, and we all know that, right?
There's no doubt. There is no doubt. That is a whole nother series of sermons right there, and I agree with that. Would it be safe to say, Kevin, that early on, martial arts became the passion of your life?
Yes, sir, absolutely. You know, in my book, I have 47 surefire tips that help you improve your life, and one of them is find your passion. Yeah. And as a child, I was very fortunate. God led me to martial arts at an early age, and when I walked in, I just fell in love with the structure and the discipline. And there was a couple of 20-something-year-old guys that kind of took me under their wing and started kind of helping me a little bit because, you know, I was a kid, and I just tried to follow along and not let anybody yell at me. So as I moved forward, I just started trying to do my best and work my hardest, and I fell in love with the structure and the discipline, and then, you know, it just kind of synced with me for some reason. Like I say, God leads us a certain direction for a reason. Yeah. And, you know, it was my passion very early on, and, you know, I set my goals very early on. I was very, very blessed that God has led me down a path to accomplish the goals. You know, did they turn out like I thought they would? Maybe not, but hey, God has a reason. He's got a plan. So, and that's what everyone has to know. There's a reason, there's a plan. And bottom line is, He'll be with you to the end, right?
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Is this your first book?
You know, it is. I tell you, I didn't realize how painful writing a book was. But I had been thinking about it for years and years and years. Yeah. And I decided I was going to sit down and I was going to write this book. So I dedicated Monday through Thursday night from 10 p.m. to midnight. I dedicated to writing a book. It took me 8 months to write it. And that was what I did for 8 months from 10 p.m. to midnight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I hammered it out.
So you knew, the family knew those nights you were going to be writing?
You know, the kids were in bed and the wife went to bed and I just started hammering away. And, you know, it spilled out really well. It turned out nice. I actually pitched it to 44 different publishers. You know, the book industry is a mess right now because of self-publishing and how easy it is to print something now. But I got it more of a traditional deal. I pitched it to 44 publishers, got turned down 31 times. I met a Christian literary agent in Pennsylvania who liked it. And he said, let me see what I can do. And he got me a deal with a small publisher out of Mobile, Alabama. So,
well, excellent. So after all those rejections, you eventually hit the mark.
Absolutely, and that's what the book's about. You cannot give up. You know, as Les Brown, the famous motivational speaker, says, he says, my favorite book says you will have trial and tribulation. It doesn't say you might. It says you will. And that's what this book is about. You know, as a kickboxer and a fighter, I went through some career-threatening injuries. I went through some ups and downs. I got had some wrong turns, and
Yeah.
it was just learning by fire, you know. And the thing about sometimes God, He's not capricious in nature. He doesn't give you dreams that He's just playing with you with. He gives you dreams, and He gives you a means to accomplish them. Now, sometimes He'll close the door. He'll say, hey,
Yeah.
let's see how serious you are.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, He may close the door for a little bit. You got to kick it down. If it's in God's will and it's what He wants you to do, it's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it wasn't easy for Jesus. You know, He didn't tap out though, did He? He
No.
kept on going.
No.
And so as a martial artist, that instilled that discipline and that drive in me to just push. I mean, I remember when I was a kid trying to get kickboxing matches. I had a huge phone bill. This is back when they had phone bills when you called long distance. It ran up the bill.
Where you actually got long distance calls.
Yeah, and my father used to say, you got to quit calling so many people all over the country, you know. And but I got calling people, and I bugged people. I actually paid my way to go compete multiple times just so I could go get the experience. And it turned out good. Sometimes it didn't turn out like I wanted to, but as a fighter, you learn to win and you learn not to win.
Sure.
But in those not to win times, you got to learn. And you can't go in and just think you're going to win all the time. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I want to ask you a question. This will not be the deepest, most profound spiritual question that
Right.
you've ever been asked. In fact, this question sounds like somebody from Greer, because I'm from Greer. Have you ever been just beat like a dog? I mean, like a yard dog. And if so, what'd you learn from it?
Well, let me tell you, you're talking to a guy that used to drive 6 hours just so I could spar with some of the best people that I could find.
Yeah.
Okay, I would drive 6 hours, I'd spar 4 or 5 days, and I'd drive home 6 hours. And I used to train at a camp that had 5 world champions come out of it.
Yeah.
So I fought with some good guys. And I used to stop in at martial arts schools and boxing gyms and say, hey, anybody want to spar? And there was many times. One of my, in 2003, I was defending a U.S. heavyweight championship that I had won after a brief hiatus from kickboxing. I came back and won this title. And I didn't train properly. I didn't dedicate myself like I should. I kind of switched methods. Things turned around. And it was a 10-round match fighting a big old fella. And I tell you, I got hit with a straight right hand one time, and I took a knee, looked down on the floor, and there's a big puddle of blood. And I looked out in the audience. I heard the ref get to about 6, and I said, I'm just going to sit here. This is just too much, you know. So, and then I looked out, and I saw a little kid looking at me that had driven about 3-4 hours to see me compete. And I said, I can't sit here. So I got up and ended up losing the decision. But
Yeah.
I actually won the last couple of rounds. But the first 7 or 8, whoo, that was rough. It was rough. But I didn't get, nothing broke. There's a lot of blood, but nothing broke.
Yeah.
So I just felt like a car wreck. I've been in a car wreck for about 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. There's something you said there that really spoke to my heart and my mind, and that is you would go out of your way to learn in competing from people that in many situations were better than you.
Oh, absolutely.
How would you relate that to maybe somebody who's not in martial arts, but they've got another passion?
Right.
How can they learn from other people? Or is it just best to learn by yourself and don't have any dealings with you?
No, absolutely not. You got to figure, when Jesus came and He started His ministry, who did He gather? He gathered 12 guys.
Yeah.
He didn't grab 1,200 guys. He grabbed 12.
Right.
Okay. So these 12 guys had a mentor. They had somebody to follow, somebody to lead, somebody to teach, to learn from, that taught them. So as a competitor or as a whatever you want to be,
Yeah.
you got to find somebody that can mentor you and lead you down that path. Somebody that you trust. Obviously, you got to be careful who you following, because they might drive off a cliff. You never know.
Sure.
But you got to look at the model in the Bible. It was a small group setting, but it was a mentorship.
Yeah.
And He led these guys down this path. And now, obviously, we know how the path turned out because we can read about it. But me, I sought out people that were better than me so I could get better. It's just like the book industry. You don't realize how many people I called to learn how to write a book and get tips on what to do and how to work. I had that thing edited myself. I went through it like 4 different times, and then when the publisher got it, he edited it. Fortunately, they didn't really change any of the wording. They changed some of the syntax. You got to realize I went to Burns High School, and I've been hitting the head a lot. So writing, it came natural for me. but I did have some punctuation and grammar and stuff. But I did seek out people that would help me, and because I wanted to turn out a good product.
Right.
And it's an extension of what I do. It's an extension of my ministry. You know, you have to make sure that you're following the right people and you're looking for people that can help you.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah. You mentioned sometimes it's not good to switch methods.
Right. Yeah.
Explain that to me, and then apply that to life.
Well, in the competitive atmosphere, for me, training was, I got into a routine of training with certain guys that helped me, and they understood my position. They understand what I was good at. So a good coach is going to take your good attributes and play on those attributes. You know, like I had a good right leg. I could use that right leg really
right.
well. I wasn't known for a lot of slick defense, but I was known for a good hard head, moving straight forward, a good strong right leg, a good jab. So I had coaches that worked that. So when I started training for one fight, this one I mentioned earlier, I changed methods just because I didn't want to travel so far, and I didn't want to go out of my way as much. So I wanted to train around the home, and I had another guy training me, and he changed methods a little bit. He turned me a different way. So in life, you know, you got to look at what God has given you as a gift.
Well, that's a good word, Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
Good word.
He's giving you gifts, and what you got to do is take those gifts and those attributes. If you don't think you got them, you got them. And you know, you may, like our pastor at our church, just give everyone a spiritual gifts survey.
Yeah.
To kind of identify your spiritual gifts. Everybody's got them. And so once you figure out these gifts, then you got to learn to maximize these. Because one day when you die and you stand before him, he's going to ask what'd you do with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to say, that's not good.
That's exactly
so,
right.
So yeah, you gotta figure out these attributes. And you know, me changing methods of training at that time is symbolic of someone maybe going down a path that maybe is not in conjunction with the gifts that they've been given. You got to be careful.
Got to stay in your lane, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Got to stay in your lane.
Would you hang around here with me a good bit more?
Absolutely. Hey, I got some water and I'm sitting in a comfortable chair. I'm fine.
And if that water runs out, I know the guy
You know the
that
guy?
can bring us the water.
Absolutely.
He'll take care of us.
All right.